Here we go. I love the Second Amendment. God gave it to me. Not one politician, not one government legislation can take it from me.
I'm a gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really maybe faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting, Bible reading, God believe in truth, speaking American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. This for free thinkers only. You ain't got no membership, they free to the repent out the cage, cause he innocent. Martin Roger Stone, cause the run know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement. Tell Justin Smollett that I know this MAGA country. Tell China we know they trying to play us like some dummies. I looked deep into it and I did the math. Why did Obama send money to that Wuhan lab? What is George Soros doing with all of his cash? Why did China take that Harvard guy and drop him a bag? Why?
All right. What's good, everybody? What's good? How y'all doing? That should have gave y'all enough time to get people over here. You dig? And I have a special guest. I mean, he's out here my way, you know, and he's a real smart brother, a free thinker, a free speech advocate. Second Amendment, all that good stuff, man. He supports all that good stuff, the stuff that's reality, and he will give you a reality check. So we got a guest over here. Orlando, you can unmute your mic. Orlando Owens for Wisconsin State Track.
Hey, Brother Mo, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Well, I'm excited to be on your show. I'm excited to talk and listen to some of your guests, and just I'm happy to be around more patriot-loving Americans.
That's right. Loving Americans. And nowadays, if you just love your country, you're a fascist. You all that stuff. You are homophobic. You everything in that book.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in the situation we are right now in our country. One of the things I focus on much on my campaign running for state treasurer is having love for God, for country, for family, and for the Second Amendment. I'm a big supporter of America. America may not be perfect, but she's the best. I wouldn't want to be in any other country. I don't mind visiting, but I wouldn't want to live in any other country. And I'm happy and proud to be an American.
Mm-hmm. The same people that ain't proud to be American, they don't practice what they preach. They if they really hate it here, it ain't really that hard to do to go to another country. I mean, seriously, I talked to a dude from Morocco. He said they don't get into this green card type of stuff like that. They can actually go and same way.
I mean, you look at, again, for all the things America's not, so everybody can see what my shirt says, Black Guns Matter. So I'm a huge supporter of the brother out of West Philly, Taj, I think it's Taj, I forget how you pronounce his last name, but he's a Second Amendment black gun club. Taught people, elderly people, how to use and how to protect and how to properly use a firearm. Maj Toure, I think that's how you pronounce his name. And man, I wouldn't want to be in any other country as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. But let me be clear, I'm far from perfect. Jesus is still working on me every day. Mm-hmm. But I am so thankful and so blessed to be in a country that I can still pray out loud. Yeah. I can still pray and go to church and read God's word. And I can freely assemble and practice my faith. Shout out to all the Hanukkah brothers out there too.
Shout out to.
So that to me, again, America may not be perfect, but she's the best. I didn't see people running away from that plane in Afghanistan. They were running toward the plane. So Just saying, if it's so bad, why we got so many people want to come here? I was just saying, you don't see people running out of the country; they're running to the country.
And we make it not saying me and you, but you know what I'm saying. We make everything about race here. Most things about race. Like the Kyle Rittenhouse, that was about race.
Yeah. Really unfortunate what happens from the left. We know that this whole thing with Kyle Rittenhouse really was about 2A and having the right to protect yourself with firearms. I supported the jury's verdict. From what I saw, it was clear case for self-defense. Has nothing to do with race. If anything, again, the people who were deceased were 2 white guys, and the third guy who was shot was a white guy. So to me, the Second Amendment and the right to protect yourself, and your family and yourself and your property was on trial here. So I'm thankful for the verdict. I pray for the families in all aspects. I pray that Brother Cal can, go off and get his education and get his life back. And I hope he sues the other networks for all the slander and mischaracterization of his name and what happened. After all this is over, like, where does a person go and get their name back? After the media has run amok and destroyed this young man's name, reputation, his future, like, where do you go to get that back? And I'm glad the courts ruled the way it did. And I think I know the jury made the right call.
Mm-hmm. But I remember they saying us as being black, we shouldn't support that.
Yeah, I support whoever's right. Whoever's on the right. For me, it's not about color. I'm clearly a black man in America. I know the history of our country. That's one of the reasons why I don't rock with CRT. CRT is a revisionist history that is always it's full of holes that the left can't really explain. But yeah, I support whoever's right. It doesn't matter to me. Left, right, or white or black. If you're right, you're right. That's the side I want to be on. And clearly, this is a chance. That was a situation in which someone's personal safety was in jeopardy. And some will say, well, if he was black, he would have, been arrested. He would have been shot. I don't know about that. I could tell you just a few months ago in Chicago, the black DA in Chicago, the one who initially didn't charge Jeffrey Smollett, who started his trial today, she waved like a straight up gun battle between 2 rival gangs. I believe it was her out of Chicago. And she was like, I'm not going to charge. Just seems like to me, everybody went for what they know. Everybody was self-defending. And those were black victims.
Wow. I forgot all about that.
No charges were made because they felt like they both defended themselves. Hey,
and he should be in jail right now. It was obvious that he lied. He admitted he lied. And
Jesse Smollett. Oh yeah, it's, as Dave Chappelle says, Smollett, Jesse Smollett. They started today, so I think the first day was the first day of the trial, I believe.
Oh snap! I gotta cover that. Oh, it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago. When he got attacked. When he said he got attacked in, below weather in Chicago, and somebody yelled out with mega hats, "This is Trump country" in Chicago. The suburbs of Chicago. This is Trump country, and they yelled that out and put a noose on him and beat him with a sub sandwich and yeah, all that stuff. And he's panicky. He can't. Turns out it was his 2 trainers and. Just unbelievable story. So I want to follow that story too on how this thing, actually plays out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta see that, man.
Yeah. So I know that's, so for me, for this race, man, I'm running on just a few short principles. I want to be the job creator for our state of Wisconsin. I want to be the economic development person and also the watchdog over your money as state taxpayers. I know someone asked a question earlier about what does the treasurer do? Well, quite honestly, not much anything. Here in the state of Wisconsin, the legislator, both Republican and Democrats, over the years have pretty much stripped away most of the power of the treasurer. So what I'm running on is for those powers to be restored to the treasurer,
All right.
and accountability, and also
Mhm.
having subpoena authority over your money. I want to be able to follow the money, over all of our agencies and give the people, the taxpayers, an account of where the money's going, what is it doing, and what are the results. So for me, I spent maybe 20 years in workforce development, nonprofit world. Currently, I work for U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. I've been with Ron Johnson now for about 6.5 years. I'm one of
Okay.
the co-founders of the Joseph Project here in Milwaukee. The Joseph Project is an inner city ministry that connect young men, mostly Black and brown, and or poor, to great opportunities in manufacturing careers. So I've been doing workforce development for about 20 years of my life. I'm a Black college grad, went to Morris Brown in Atlanta, Georgia, but I was raised here in Milwaukee. There you go. The A. So the ATL was good to me, man. I grew up most of my time in Milwaukee. I was part of the 220 program, so I went to Wauwatosa West High School. I was a part of it.
I work right down the street from there.
Oh, there you have it. So enjoy my time in Tulsa West. That was the first time, honestly, it was my first time being around so many white people in my life. And what I found out during the lunchtime, that I saw the Italians in one corner, I saw the Irish in another corner, and I saw the Scandinavians in the other corner. And what I saw in that lunchroom, I said, well, doggone it, white people are just as jacked up as Black people. They all have their own little sections. And I said, well, doggone it, people are people. My grandma has always told me in life, she told me there's only two type of people in the world, good and bad. And you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. So that's a little bit of backstory of who I am, man. And for the last, 15 years, I volunteered for the state party. I've been working on a number of campaigns. I was the state director of African American engagement for the Republican Party of Wisconsin in collaboration with the RNC. So I had a chance to.
So have you always been a Republican?
I have not always been a Republican.
Oh, right.
Great question. That transformation is much like many Black conservatives that you will find, let's say Black Republicans, because the fact of the matter is most people of color, we tend to be morally conservative, but socially liberal. And the socially liberal part comes really into play when you have failed economic policies driven by a lot of liberal progressive Democrats. Some of the most poor and impoverished Black people are in some of our biggest cities, which are ran by the left. But yeah, man, I made a conversion. I thought I was a Democrat. I grew up in a Democrat house. Everybody Black supposed to vote Democrat. Joe Biden said, if you Black, you got to vote Democrat. That's what he told us, right? Because the other side want to put y'all in chains. So that's all. Good old Joe Biden and the loving left. Man, I ran for city council here in Milwaukee. Thought I was a Democrat. I even joined the Democratic Party, and I went to the meetings, man. And there were two themes in the meetings that kind of drove me away from the Democratic Party. One of those things was I've already kind of mentioned earlier. I'm a person of faith. I don't claim to be some type of whatever, but I grew up in the church. Also, one foot in the street as well too. And so some of the things they talked about in the meetings just didn't line up for me biblically. The way that I was taught in the church about certain relationships just didn't add up for me, and that bothered me, and that didn't sit right in my my faith walk. And then the other side was that the economic and the intellectual side. I had just graduated from a historical college in Atlanta, Georgia, called Morris Brown. Graduated cum laude, walked onto the basketball team, became an academic All-American. It was my first time actually seeing Black affluency to that extreme. You had Black doctors, Black lawyers who all were driving good, living good, eating good, and not just the dope boy or the rapper or just the hustler. I found out that there was other people who were trying to do it the right way. Somebody wrote a question, I hope Orlando wins. We need more patriot positions in power. Hey, man, I appreciate you. I hope I'm win. I pray for me, you all. We're going to need your help. And so being in Atlanta, man, really opened my eyes to see, that economics was really the true freedom. My instructors talked about just having the ability to compete with any and everybody. And, I came home, I ran for alderman, I was a dad, so I came back to Wisconsin. Okay. My intention was to stay in Atlanta, but my son was here, so I wanted to come back and spend more time with my son, be closer to my family. And I ran for office, man, and I got beat. I ran for Marvin Pratt, old seat. When Marvin Pratt became he was running for the mayor when Norcross got caught up in all his stuff, and Pratt was going to run for his seat. I ran for his automatic seat and got beat by still the same alderman 20 years later, 20 some odd years, well, I would say almost 15, 20 years later, Ashanti Hamilton, still the same alderman, got beat by that guy twice. But in that second race, I learned that you needed to have really a lot of support, from a party. Although they say the alderman races and school board races and county board races are nonpartisan,
are you familiar with that Republican office? I remember I went there a couple of times on North Avenue and MLK.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm right there. So I'm also the chair of the Milwaukee branch of the Republican Party. Milwaukee County is the only county party that is separated between 6 different smaller branches. The rest of the state of Wisconsin, you have one county party. And I am in my second term being the chair of Milwaukee proper Republican Party. So this is my second term, first African American. We are the most diverse chapter club in the state of Wisconsin. So I'm very happy and honored and humbled by that. But yeah, man, my conversion happened over time. I thought I was a Democrat. Those 2 issues really rubbed me the wrong way for my faith and also for my intellectual side. It rubbed me the wrong way, what I was hearing in those meetings. And believe it or not, man, I started listening to Rush Limbaugh. And I would listen to Rush and say, yeah, I don't know if I would have said it the way he said it, but he made sense. And I continued to listen. It was doing Bush the second. It was doing Bush the second term. And I would continue to listen. And one day, man, I heard Rush wasn't there. And it was this guy from Milwaukee who was substituting for Rush. I was like, this guy's from Milwaukee.
Okay.
And his name was Mark Belling. And so I started listening to Mark Belling. And I was like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have said it that way, but it made sense. And before I knew it, Brother Mo, I was like, man, I'm a conservative. And then I said, man, I'm not a Democrat. Kept on listening. I said, I'm a Republican. And kept on listening, Brother Mo. And I said, doggone it, I'm a Black Republican. But that was my conversion, man. I just kind of listened to the principles of the party, and they lined up with me, man. My father's a Marine. My grandfather's a Marine. We have entrepreneurs, but I also got hustlers and pimps and players in my family too. So I saw both sides. But I just saw that independent message about, first love for God, love for country, and opportunity. I went to business school. So I always thought, man, I want to make all the money I want in the world. Just get out of my way. I want to make it. And so that's kind of my conversion story, bro.
Right. And you know what? It's nothing wrong with loving your country, because if you got a home, you're gonna love your home. You want to fluff up the pillows over here, and you ain't gonna let anybody in your crib. You gonna want some good hospitality. You're gonna take pride at your home where you live at. But you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, I have love for country, man. I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't mind visiting, but I don't want to live nowhere else. I'm blessed to be called an American. I'm blessed to be in this great state of Wisconsin, the home place of the birth of the Republican Party movement. That was an anti-slavery organization that started to free all people of color, Black men. So I'm blessed to be in the state here. I was Badger Boy State Governor in 1992. I'm a home guy. I just believe I love Wisconsin. I think we have a lot to offer. And I'm proud and honored again to be running for state treasurer. And I need your vote and support.
That's right, man. We got to support one another. I mean, you don't got to agree with everything your fellow right winger says, But we gotta take our country back. We gotta take our country back. We don't take our country back. Come on, man, y'all. This country already going to hell.
Well, the left is busy. The left has been busy in a few different of our institutions, and we conservative have just kind of fell asleep, and we let things slide. We focus on the national campaigns, the top of the ticket, and we forgot about school boards. We forgot about the county boards and the city councils. And we see now this whole push for CRT and the other things that are being taught in our schools by these lefty, I just call them Marxist school boards. And you find them sometime in the most strangest places. Said, I want to work with this man. Okay. I appreciate you, Sister Kelly. I want to work with you as well, too. You find some of these most left-leaning progressive school boards in some of the most conservative districts. And you're like, well, how can it happen? It happened because most conservatives, we were working and we didn't sign up for the school board race because we thought the schools were going to be doing nothing more than teaching. But what we found out through all the CRT and all the 1619 project and all the, we want to, through, equity and what is it called? Diversity and inclusion training and basically indoctrination of our children.
Right.
We
I'm
found
going to ask you something. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're aware of this. You here in Milwaukee, and I went voting at Midtown. Are you familiar with Midtown, right? I went over there to vote, and
Capitol Court.
Man, they was crazy over there. Look, they had free hot dog trucks, free everything, free food. It's a Democratic book. I still got the Democrat water that it's in the refrigerator. It's right. They said democracy up on the water. Man, look, I walked over there with my MAGA hat on. They looking at me like, what? Like, yep. I walked right in the pole right there. It's like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That was one of the issues that happened in Georgia when they moved the All-Star game out of Georgia. All the backlash when Brother Ed, man, Delgado is my dude, conservative. Want to work. So Ed Delgado is another conservative minority guy in the state of Wisconsin. He's up north. He's another podcaster. You and him, Mo, y'all should connect, bro. Ed got some good stuff.
We gonna connect. You gonna link us up. All right.
No doubt. He's another one. He's in the Wapaka area, but a longtime conservative, Marine, but a good dude. He follows the issues and he sticks to the issues, but he's another conservative voice out here in Wisconsin. And you guys definitely link up. But yeah, that was one of the things that the law in Georgia wanted to change. It was basically electioneering in line. When you have political parties and third-party groups in lines passing out food, passing out water, and people went just through and lost their rabid minds when people were like, well, what do you mean you don't want people to eat in line and nobody can offer them water? All the Georgia law said was you could not do that directly to the people. If a third-party group wanted to give water or food, they had to give it to the election commission's person, election poll worker, and they would give the stuff out. You couldn't be walking the line because, to your point, you got a bottle of water that said democracy, democratic water. That's electioneering, bro. That's electioneering.
Yep.
I mean, you are a classic example of something illegal that happened within a certain amount of feet from a polling site. You could be a witness, Brother Mo. You could be a witness. You still have the evidence.
Wow. And I just looked at it like, yo, man, what's really, really good? Talk to me. I'm just like, wow, man. It's like, I even talked to, I went to Inglewood, Chicago about 2 years ago. And people dared me to walk to Inglewood, Chicago. They said, you would not come out there live if you come there with a MAGA hat on. So I walked there, I'm a cameraman. They were showing me love. A lot of them even know what's going on in politics. One lady, she said this, you're the first activist I ever seen come to Inglewood since voting time. They only come when voting time. That's when you see activists. You out here. And they start giving me a hug. And, we were talking, man. One dude had a machine gun on. He was trying to promote his Instagram account. Hey, make sure you follow me on Instagram with his gold teeth right there. He's like F Trump, but I'm like, all right, that's how you feel. So I walked away. He wasn't trying to get me. He was trying to get his hustle on here.
Right. Well, I mean, man, I've been, I've had a mega hat. My mega hat was black. So I've been at the booth here in Milwaukee at Juneteenth. Milwaukee North Branch, we've had a booth at Juneteenth for, but I don't know, 7 to 10 years there, and also Garfield Days. Ed said conservative gay ground. Okay. Oh, I see that. We got your chat, man, is blowing up over here. I'm looking. is going crazy over here. But yeah, man, we as conservatives, and that's what most people don't understand. Most people of color, we're morally conservative, meaning that we still believe in some independence of faith, but we're socially liberal because of a failed economic system. We have to understand that we are the party that stood up for the freedom of blacks during slavery time. We led the charge in the 60s in the protests in the street, and we had our fists in the air. Those were Republicans fighting against oppressive laws by the Democrats who wanted the ability this to work and be treated equally. We were always there as Republicans. Then we have these individuals who say, well, the party switched. They flip-flopped. I said, can you show me any evidence of that? They always point to, well, the Southern strategy, Nixon and the Southern strategy. The Southern strategy was no more than a politician going to find as many votes as he can. There's no record of any flip-flopping of any party, because the thing about, elected officials at the beginning of every session, after an election year, after an election, you sign the ledger. And you sign the ledger with your name and party affiliation. Show me where the great flip happened, that the Republicans became Democrats in history. Right. Show me the. They
don't want to talk about it. It's the propaganda. It's the talking points.
Show me the newspapers. It would have been a top story in the day. Where are the newspapers that would have recorded this great migration of flipping? Now check this though, Brother Mo. Not only did one party flipped, but the other party flipped too. So you had two tremendous amount of political parties that flip-flop completely. Forget about their tenets and what they were founded on and just abandon those principles. Wait a minute. They did not. They kept the same principles, but nonetheless, they flipped parties. Again, show me the documentation. They can't do it. So again, man, it's just one of those things that the left is good at, of revisiting the history, rewriting history. That's why this whole issue of CRT, they will say that when Johnson did, they would say the CRT is only history. No, we have Black History Month. Where does teach Black history? Every year we got a month. So don't tell me CRT is somehow, first it doesn't exist. Then it went to, it's only a college level course. Then it went on to, we don't teach it in the high schools. But anytime you talk about inclusion, equity, and diversity, that is a form of CRT. There were three dams that flip-flopped in the Wizards levels. Robert Byrd was one, right, Brother Ed. But again, there was no massive, that the people who want to claim mostly are these progressive left Democrats who want to say, well, no, that's not our history. It's crazy how they want to forget about their history, but they also want to talk about CRT that wants us to remember American history, but Democrats want to forget about their history and rewrite their history. So it's really odd how they work, It's just really, it is the hypocrisy that comes from the left, bro. And so again, show me the documentation. We are the party that stood for freedom. We still are the same party. And that's why I'm running for office, because I really want to restore the idea of freedom, the idea for love for country, that it's time for us to have some American swagger again.
So are there any events coming up here in this area, like Republicans, anything, let me know. I'm down.
So yeah, you can always go to the state website to look at events throughout the state of Wisconsin. We are in the holiday season now. So a lot of the county parties are having their Christmas parties. So a lot of those are going on. We just finished a real kind of, I can tell you, Brother Mo, that my campaign started taking off when I started going to the county fairs. I didn't know there was so many county fairs in Wisconsin. Didn't know. Every county got a county fair. And one of the themes that I learned on that campaign trail is I had a slogan that says, from the barn to the booth. I still have it. I still use it. And that slogan simply means that everybody who's a conservative, from the barn, where the people are who are not necessarily Republicans, but they're conservatives, that they're at the state fair to show animals, they, selling their animals, whatever the case may be. They may never come to the main, the midway is the main thoroughway. But everybody from that barn to the Republican booth are conservatives, and we need to be talking to them. This election coming up in 2022 is going to be a phenomenal year for Republicans and conservatives if we can get our stuff together. We can get our stuff together. We have a lot of right now, and I think I might have mentioned it to you earlier. For anybody who wants to come check me out, my website is orlandoforwi.com, Orlando for FOR Wisconsin, which is wi.com. I'm going to be trying to get the endorsement of the Republican Party at the state convention. So I'm running to get that endorsement. If I don't get that endorsement at state convention, I'm going to get out of the race, and I'm going to support whoever is the endorsed candidate, because I believe that the most important thing is we realize where and who our target really is. It's not each other as far as conservatives. It is really about the Democrats and the progressives and the liberals who are trying to take over our country and trying to stifle freedom. And just trying to make, this the whole idea of rugged individualism to be just done away with. I mean, we just saw what happened in Waukesha, and it's the whole justice system just on full display of incompetency. And it's not even being incompetent. It's really the way they want it. This whole low bail criminal justice reform. I'm for anything that will help the situation. But certain things you can't get away from, which is when you are a bad actor, you got to go sit down. That's the problem we have right now in Milwaukee, that the individuals are not being honest, that we have people in our community that have to go sit down. And we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to do the hard lifting. People talk about education in Milwaukee, and if they only had more money. Education doesn't have a money issue. Education has a parental issue.
Man. It feels good to be woke. Man, it feels good. It feels good. You know what? I hate to throw race in it, but it feels good to see a man of color that's woke.
Well, man, again, I've been trying and walking around, man. I've been listening a lot. I've studied a lot of the issues, man, and I'm ready for the seat right now. I believe God has uniquely placed me to be prepared in my life. I'm 47 years old, Brother Mo. And I got a 7-month-old baby at home with my wife right now. And let me just be clear, Brother Mo.
I'm older than you.
Hey, man, I just want to, I'm not perfect, man. I lost everything at one time, Brother Mo. I lost my businesses. I lost my homes. I lost a marriage. But God. Only in America is my story even possible, that I can come from that place and then move up and change my trajectory of where I want to be in this country, in this world. Only in America is my story can happen. And this American story, my friend who's running for Congress, his name is Derek Van Orden. He talks about him being a poor farm kid and how, him being a career Navy SEAL, that he's been a SEAL all his life, all his adult life. And he talks about how his story it's called the American story for a reason. It's not called the Dutch story. It's not called the English story. It's not called the Canadian story. It's called the American dream. Because in America, things like this can still happen. And that's why I love this country.
Hey, I got a random question for you, bro, that I never even asked you. It's a controversial question I'm asking you, and I'm pretty sure I already know how you're going to answer it. How do you feel about Scott Walker? I mean, did he do his job as a Republican? I mean, did he do a good job?
I am a huge Scott Walker fan. I was a huge Scott Walker fan. I can tell you, Brother Mo, when the recalls happened, I was on East Capitol in front of all these fools, bro, with a makeshift sign that says, I support Scott Walker. And everybody was stopping, getting out their car, throwing me the finger. I had white people getting out the car, telling me, what kind of black man are you? And I was like, I'm a free black man, and I'm a free thinker. So I'm a huge fan of Scott Walker. He wasn't, there's some things that he did that I wish he would have did differently. I think there was definitely some issues with his presidential race that I think hurt him.
It's like they with all of us. None of us perfect.
What'd you say?
It's like they with all of us. None of us perfect.
Oh, man, no. And I'm a huge fan of Scott. I like what we did with Act 10. I was there at the Capitol when Act 10 passed. So when they talk about like I don't want to get you in trouble on your station, but when they talk about what happened in DC, I can say what happened in DC January 6th also happened here in Madison, Wisconsin, when Act 10 passed and they took over the Capitol, and they was everywhere. They shut down the street, took over the Capitol, couldn't do nothing. So dismiss me with the insurrection. We had an insurrection in Madison, Wisconsin, and nobody's talking about that. I was there. I saw the mess. You know, busting out windows, pushing powers, the guards. So I saw it. So again, it's the hypocrisy of the left.
Yep.
Who can't be honest. And now you have Mandela Barnes running against, running against my boss, possibly. I don't know if Ron is going to run again or not, but you have Tony Evers running for re-election. You have, just a slew of people running for lieutenant governor, a bunch of, people who have not been successful in the position they have now. I got respect for Lena Taylor, who running for lieutenant governor, but I can tell you these individuals have run the city of Milwaukee. And what is the byproduct that we see with the city of Milwaukee? Republicans hadn't run the city of Milwaukee. We don't run the city council. We don't run the school board. We didn't even really run, even with Scott Walker, we didn't even run the county, because he was always getting outvoted. His vetoes always got override when he was, the county executive. Democrats, progressive, liberals run these cities, Milwaukee in particular. And what do we have to show for it?
Yep.
Not much.
We got much. It's like, man.
Not much at all. And so,
but I'm here to tell you that a lot of blacks have woken up, and out of my last 5 years, as I've been advocating, I have converted many black folks just by saying three things. I asked them one thing: do you support abortion? No. Do you support that type of marriage? No, I don't support that type of marriage. Man, you just converted me. I gave them something simple. Sometimes you can't go with talking points, but you can go with something simple and talk about community. That's why I wish a lot of Republicans could fund people like us more, and we can really do some stuff out there.
Sure.
I mean, that's my opinion. And if they promote us more, I know it's not that easy, but come on, Democrats are doing it.
Well, man, I can tell you, I ran for state rep in 2020 here in Milwaukee. And I can tell you, when I did these doors to get my signatures, I would go to doors. And it was a technique that I came up with. And it's really about conversation. And I get people to start talking. Like, are you happy with the current situation here in the city? It was like, no. Are you happy with what's going on with it? Like, no. Do you support the idea of having freedom? Like, yeah. And it was like, well, if you do, then sign my nomination papers. Like, yeah, man, I like you, Orlando. And as I was signing, I would say, but by the way, I'm a Republican. They were like, wait a minute. I said, hold on. Before you don't want to finish signing my signature page, you agree with everything I said up until this point right now. The question isn't that I'm a Republican. The question is, are you really a Democrat? And people's like, you got a point, Orlando. You got a point. And they signed that nomination paper. Because what the issues were, like you talking about, Brother Mo, is that you talked about the things that were important to people. That made sense. I'm sitting at my kitchen table. My live stream, when I go live, I'll call them the kitchen cabinet conversations. Kitchen cabinet. We're talking about things that make sense to people, man. And if you want to, move people to look at Republicans and conservatives more often, who typically don't look our way, we got to talk about things that they talk about every day. And those issues are kitchen cabinet conversations.
And that's it. I mean, let me be honest. Black in the hood. I'm saying it. I'm saying like this. Do not no policy, no politics, no nothing. They just know what they heard, which they don't know. They feed off what they heard. Oh, I heard it. It's a popular opinion. It's like you got this whack song. This is a one-hit wonder, and everybody love it. But you got people with more skills with a better song than that.
Yeah, I think we started our political awareness for a lot of people under Barack Obama, and that opened a lot of people's eyes to the political process. But I think that part of the problem is that a lot of Black people are Democrats. They're not liberals and they're not progressives.
I said that. Yep.
A lot of them are Democrats because of the union affiliation, right?
Yeah.
Their union jobs were labor was closely associated, and still is closely associated with the Democrat Party. So they're not progressives and they're not liberals. So a lot of the things that what you just said with those two questions, they don't really rock with like that. And but the question is, well, how do we offset that by saying, well, I don't like Republicans, and I actually ask them why, because they're racist. I'm like, what do you mean? And they go into that whole thing. Well, the Republican Party flipped. Like, no, it didn't, man. No, it didn't. It never flipped anything. Never flipped. We still the same party we were before. The question again, people have rewritten history, and that's again why I don't support CRT. You want to rewrite history, and you want to leave off the idea of how this country was founded. They say this country was founded on slavery. Let's be honest, Brother Mo. Slavery was an institution that every country practiced. It's an institution that even in biblical times.
Look,
Africans even practiced
when
slavery.
African slaves first came here, it didn't start off with the whipping, the masses whipping them. There was actually a lot of them came on their free will, and then they turned it into let's get them niggers. You know what I'm saying? It turned into that.
Well, again, if you
It
study,
didn't start off like, get on the boat right now or else.
Well, if you study just slavery is a byproduct of, it's a huge institution that every country participated in. So if you have a problem with slavery, which I think you should, because slavery was wrong and it was brutal. But if you're going to be mad at American slavery, then you need to be mad at all slavery in the world. American slavery was no different than any of the slavery in the Bible. American slavery was not, chattel slavery was no different than the slavery you had in Europe, or you had in Africa, you had in Mexico. All these Middle Eastern countries, slavery was a practice. It was bad, no doubt that. But to say that this country was founded on was just not true. And they said, well, the founding fathers had, slaves. They were talking about this today. They're going to rename James Madison High School in Milwaukee to Bell Phillips, because James Madison, one of the founders of the country, one of the main authors of the Constitution, had slaves. He was a Southerner. A lot of slavery was a thing that a lot of people participated in. But if we're going to talk about the founding fathers, at least half of the founding fathers were not slave owners. CRT does not talk about that. That's the problem. CRT also does not talk about all the strives that this country has made to correct the wrongs of slavery and systemic racism and racism, period. It doesn't talk about the corrections. It also does not tell you who pushed those racist policies and laws, because that would be the Democratic Party. And who fought to change those laws? That'll be the Republican Party. And so CRT conveniently leaves that off. Also, just from a biblical standpoint, it's wrong, because the Bible says that we all were shaped in sin and, born in sin and shaped in iniquity, that we're all God's children and we're all believers. Without the blood of Jesus Christ, man will do all things they can do, because the flesh wants what it wants. But because we have Christ, there is redemption. Because CRT says that white people are genetically racist, and they will be that way.
Oh, yeah, that's in their racist DNA, right? The DNA
is in their racist blood. And Black people are genetically inferior, and they will never be more than that. So again, from a biblical standpoint, that makes no sense, because Jesus came to save everybody, not just these over here or those over there. So from those two standpoints, from a biblical standpoint and also from a historical context, I can't rock with CRT.
Jesus even came, y'all, to save the guys who put him on the cross. He said, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." He came to save them. And that means right there, that's confirmation that he came to save everybody.
Well, the thing about it again, man, we look at even now with this whole thing that happened in Waukesha, and we look at the number of chances that this young man was given chance after chance with our court system and our probation system. The left believe that's a good system that you should get. And I don't necessarily, I'm not against people having bail and having really, an opportunity. I'm part of the Joseph Project. So I believe in people having second chances. Hey, I believe in the second. I needed a second or third chance. But I also let you know that if the left wants us to forgive people who have committed these crimes, the left can't see its way to forgive America for slavery. That's just the strangest thing. Just saying.
I know.
It's hypocrisy again. You want forgiveness for folk who did wrong, but you can't forgive America. And then you don't want to forgive America because you don't want to talk about them. Because when you ask CRT believers to break down the policies of this country that are so-called systemically racist, they never say who passed the policy. Mm-hmm. They always say, well, white America. Well, who in white America did what? Well, just all white America. No, not all white America supported those policies and precepts. So if you're going to tell the story, then tell it all and tell the truth, not just a part of this oppressive, racist people that live here in this country. You also have people who also fought for good from the very beginning. Another reason why I can't support a concept and a philosophy that only tells half of the truth. Doesn't give the whole truth. And what does it do? If you tell a youngster that this country is historically racist and that you cannot make it in this country, what does that mindset happen to a young black male in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade or 3rd grade? Why would he or she even want to come back the next day for school? If you're telling them they can't make it, why are you teaching then? If you say they can't make it, then why should they even try? And that's what the left and CRT supporters don't get. If you say America's just the game is rigged, you ain't gonna make it, then you cannot be surprised when people don't come to school or they don't really give school a chance. I'm just saying, Brother Mo.
Man, like they don't get it, bro.
Well, I think they get it, but I think so. To me,
okay,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, bro. I'm listening.
One of the things I cannot stand the most, man. I cannot stand a progressive or white liberal. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Man,
they think they blacker than me. They think they blacker than me. The problem is I'm just more American than they are. But I can't stand a white liberal, bro. I cannot stand them. They think they know. And I tell people, man, that she said facts. But the other day, we confirmed that it's only taught in college from now. Well, I mean, it's the course itself of, critical race, but the precepts and concepts and all the derivatives are taught much earlier than that. Anytime you have, what is it called? You have DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity. That is a form of CRT. When you have the ideas of the ideas of what do they call that? EST. It was emotional, social, something. That's another form of critical race theory. So they will say technically is on the college level in law school, but the concepts and the ideas and the precepts and the morals of it are still taught by any other name, the same stuff, that America's racist, that you can't make it without, because the white oppressive man is bad, but I'm the good white person, I'm the white liberal, so you should like me. These were the same concepts I heard when I was making my conversion from being a Democrat to a Republican, that white progressives were telling me, black people got it bad because the racist white people are the worst. And I was like, well, you white.
But I don't get this. I mean, I get it, but I don't get this. You got white liberals say they love black people, but they don't hang out with us like that. White liberals, at the end of the day, a lot of them are hippies and they don't hang in our hoods. They be on the east side of Milwaukee, Farwell Street. They be sitting there with their bell bottoms on and lips peer, and they chill over there, but won't chill over here because they're scared of black people. if they love black people like that, why they don't mess with black people?
Well, again, the progressive liberal believes they truly have a God complex. They believe they need to deliver black people from this oppressive world. The idea of CRT really is nothing more than Marxism, just repackaged and take out class struggle and invoke race. That's all CRT is. All the founders of it, Derek Bell and a whole lot of them, all came from Marxist teachings. They're all a derivatives. They're all a graduate of Marxist and communist socialist thinking already. They just came up with another concept with another name and called it critical race theory. But critical theory itself is nothing new. It just caught fire again with the whole idea of Black Lives Matter, the organization, and then, you know, how they were really not supportive of the traditional values of America or Western culture, the idea of marriage, the idea of traditional, marriage and the nuclear family. So all these are just derivatives of that. And then as you go into that whole leftist progressive thinking, you start now to expose the children to sexuality. Some parents really don't care about, you know, the homosexual or heterosexual conversations. That doesn't make a big difference to them. Most parents say, I don't want you talking about sexuality, period, be it hetero or homo. I don't want you talking about that conversation with my child. I'll do that. Because some will say, well, they don't like it because you're talking about, you know, just, you know, alternative lifestyles or another form of sexuality. It's like, nah, I don't want you just explaining no part of sexuality. I don't care if it's hetero or homosexual. I don't want none of that being taught to my daughter or my son. I'll do that. I don't need you progressive white people, this is the liberals, teaching me or my children anything about those subject matters. That's my job. That's the problem with the progressive liberal mindset. They think they know better. They think they need to cover the jobs you cannot do.
Most of them are atheists or agnostic.
Yeah, I've met a few. I
wouldn't even not the agnostic, the atheists.
Yeah.
Agnostic means you don't know. So you know what? We can teach them. Atheists.
So again, it's just things that I just don't support, man. I can't support it. And I'm running for state treasurer to restore some of these things, to be an advocate for the taxpayers of Wisconsin and for the future of our state. You know, I want to, Brother Mo, I really want to work on like where your money's going, who's getting your money,
yeah,
and what are the byproducts and the results of your money. Before I ask you to pay for more taxes, we ought to know what we're already doing with your tax money. We should already know that before. We should already know the results. We should already have the matrix of how well this program or initiative or department's functioning before we ask the taxpayers for more money for another program. This is what they have done in Milwaukee, right? There's the left they've had ideas, they've had opportunities, and by God, they even had time. And they still have come up with nothing of value in the city of Milwaukee that really changes the community, that really changes the outlook for people who are poor and impoverished. They don't have any ideas because they're so anti-free markets. They're so against capitalism. They're so against freedom of ideas and freedom of education, man. It's just so sickening. But now, minorities, we're going to have our own awakening because this is what you get. You trusted them. So I'm asking you to vote for me. I'm asking you to look at conservatives. You've had a progressive and the Democrats already. And you can't tell me you're happy with what's going on. Look at the number of murders we have in our city. Look at the dropout rate, the educational gap. Look at the wealth gap in our city. You can't be cool with this. You've given them all your time and treasure. It's time for a new change. And that's why I'm running. I'm running because I love Wisconsin. I love for everybody to have the same outlook, the same opportunities that I've had to see how great America can be, how great Wisconsin can be.
Yes. When I left Chicago, I ain't gonna lie, I said this. I don't want to support Wisconsin. They're too segregated, and I have the attitude, and now and I believe God have led me here to live here for a reason. It's not an accident that I'm in Wisconsin. I did my time in Chicago. Once I did my time, I ain't talking about jail, but I did my time in Chicago. you know, and I still, you know, do some things out there. But God sent me here. It's not where you from, where you at, and I'm here. I'm at Wisconsin. I'm here, and we right here, and we gotta like really flip the script. We're gonna do this.
Well, man, you know,
yeah, and this city clearly needs work, you know. But I got it right here. We talked about this earlier.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish what you.
That was pretty much it, man. That's why I'm running, man. I'm running. I want to make those changes. I want to be a solutionary, not just point of the problem. So many people can point the problem, but they don't have any solutions, man. And I want to be solution driven. I want to solve this stuff, not just continue to, you know, pass the buck or push it down the road. We need to handle this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I want to talk about right now, we talked about that movie Uncle Tom, and the phrase Uncle Tom that been going on for decades and decades.
Yep.
And Black conservatives are considered Uncle Toms. I mean, I think it's a compliment because if they read Uncle Tom, they would want to be Uncle Tom. But Sambo and Sellout, the Sambo, Daffy Ducks. You don't talk about Daffy Ducks, all that.
Yep. So, man, I mean, I really. It's a great question, right? Like, what makes a Black conservative, man? I'm just a free thinking person, man, who asks the questions why. I've heard we talk about these derogatory terms, man, and what we end up going down is a lane of trying to say who's Black and who ain't Black enough, and that's never a good place to be. I will never like call Black people who are progressive, left, liberal, Democrats like less than Black. I may not agree with you, but I'm not going to say that you're less than. That's out of that's not cool, because no one has a, you know, stronghold of what Blackness is, right? Yeah. You may disagree with my positions, that's fine. But when we get into the level of name calling, I mean, it's pretty much a wrap. The conversation pretty much can't go anywhere from there. Once you start calling somebody out their name, people are going to shut down, or they're going to walk away, or, you know, bad things happen thereafter. But, you know, so I've been called all those things, Uncle Tom, Sellout, and they all kind of tie back to the idea, well, you like education, so you acting white, or you don't want you want to walk your own path, and so you're walking away from you know, the rest of the pack, so to speak. And it's really a sad position to be for that person who's saying those terms, but also the person that's receiving those terms, because your vibration level, when you could try to call someone less than, like, you have a really low vibration. Like, that's your best argument. You can't argue the facts. You can't argue and debate the points. You want to call someone less than. It's really, it's a really juvenile way of approaching a conversation or an intellectual debate. And it truly means you don't have anything else to offer. That's the best you got.
It's funny. A white leftist came to me today and asked me my question. Well, how you feel about Trump Jr.? He called LeBron the B word. He called him a biatch. He called him that. A little biatch. He called him that. And how you feel as a Black guy that this white guy, I'm like, oh, here we go. And I told him, like, you know what? I see his points on what he called him. You know, well, you an idiot. You're stupid. He's a triggered liberal.
Right.
He called me an idiot, and all I did is answer this question.
Well, again, that's the progressive liberal kind of makeup. Again, trying to give Black people voice. Like, we don't need you to give us voice. We don't need you to give us an opinion. And if my opinion on position is different than what you think I should be doing, now I'm an idiot. Now I'm a traitor to my own people. Mm-hmm. Some of the most dysfunctional things I hear are from Black people who call you us Uncle Toms, but the next thing is the white liberal, because they'll say, well, you're a disgrace to your people. But I thought you guys were the compassionate left, the caring left. You know, so again, that statement from that man is just clearly another left-leaning, you're not really free unless I tell you you're free. That you need to think like I do. How in the world can you allow the same way he was mad that Donald Trump Jr. called LeBron the B word? It's the same word he gave you by calling you stupid. So you yelling at me as a white man on how I should feel as a black man about another white man calling a black man a name, but you don't see the irony of what you doing right now. That's crazy. Again, this is the laugh, right? Ain't crazy. This is odd. Like you are calling me an idiot for not agreeing with you that I should have been offended. The same thing you're asking me that I should be offended because a white man called another black man a derogatory term. You're insulting me as a white man to tell me as a black man how I should think, how I should respond. Thank you, controlling left, white progressive.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I slipped and said a cuss word because I know you shared it to your channel. And I'm trying not to say the B words.
You're fine. You're fine, man.
Okay. I'm trying to be respectful as you shared it over there.
You're fine.
All right.
They got the topic. They got the name of the show is not for thin skin.
Okay, they got it right.
You can't be that thin skin. So I think they'll value the conversation. The pieces that we talked about policy. We look at what's happening in Milwaukee. Someone asked me a question like, Orlando, why do you post all this negative stuff about Milwaukee? I said, it's not so much I post the negative stuff. I just speak truth to power. These things have to be brought up. And he said, well, what are your solutions? And I said, well, here are 5 of the things I think we should do. We should first have a strong law enforcement presence. You need to have a strong economy in the city. You need to bring back the idea of 2-parent households. We need to have not only a strong police force, but a strong law enforcement and court system needs to be strong. And you need to have great enforcement of education options. And the guy was like, well, does that sound like buzz terms? I'm like, nah, it's actually a plan. If you do those things, then you will see a change in the city. If you're not willing to do those things, because now we have, Tom Barrett getting ready to be the ambassador of Luxembourg.
Oh, Tom.
So we the great Shriley guy, now we have a campaign that's warring right now with Police Chief Arnell Lucas and the president of the Common Council, Cheryl Cavalier Johnson. And, it's going to be more to get into that race. But again, these people are the same progressive thinking. They won't change. They're not willing to do what it takes to change the city. Not willing to do it.
They won't do it. It's like, it's all money. It's all publicity. It's all props. They want props.
Right. Well, they won't do it. They won't make the hard choices. And that means, in order to be a leader, sometimes you have to walk alone. I think that's a trait of a lot of conservative blacks or conservative periods. We don't stand on our values because it's popular.
Did Jesus kind of walk alone?
Walked alone. Sometimes
not kind of. He walked
leadership is sometimes a lonely trail. To speak truth to power sometimes is a lonely walk.
Yeah. To
have good common sense, a good rational thinking, sometimes you're by yourself because you have to be a leader.
I've seen people flipped out, left my circle, come back a couple years later like, man, Mo, you was right, bro. I mean, I had people came out apologize, you were right, and then I voted for Trump. Like, hold on. I got a friend, I used to mentor her. She was a full-blown lesbian. And she looked at me, she followed my page and said this, Reese, you support Trump? Man, but you know what? I still love you. I remember you back in the day. And you called me a year later doing all this stuff that happened, the pandemic and stuff happened. Man, Reese, she was right. I apologize to you. Now, look, she a full-blown lesbian and agree with the stuff that's going on right now.
Well, if we can get people past, some of just the, let's call it stereotyping of what a Republican or a conservative is, and actually get people to start driving to the point of policy and look at policy and what is the policy and how does a policy, translate into a productive body of work or productive solution, then we cooking with grease. If we're going to still be emotional and just go, well, conservative whites, they're racist, and you black conservative, just a bunch of times, then we're not really good. We're not really drilling down. It's like, what's your issue? And if this is about having solutions, right, to issues, let's lay out the issue and have the debate on the issue, and whoever has the best idea. Now, again, the idea that a lot of conservatives come up with is that we don't necessarily want to give you a handout to hold you down. Mm-hmm. We want to give you a hand up so you can move on. The left wants to give you a handout to hold you down. We want to give you a handout to hold you up to get you on your feet. So that's a difference there, right? The left is content with you being where you are. Conservatives say, no, you have so much more you can be.
Yeah. That's why conservatives encourage you more to get your own business.
Correct.
They don't want you working for Walmart.
Correct.
or Lowe's. You know what I'm talking about, Speedway. And
well, if you have, if you look at a booming economy, you have a great idea and a great ethic, man. This is America, man. Go out and start your own business. So many people need services because people will pay you. That's why I went to business school, and I learned very early in business school. And one of the professors told me, he's like, "Why did you guys come to college?" And everybody was like, "To get an education, get an education." And the professor was like, "No, you came to college." And let me also be clear with this. 4-year school ain't, the end all be all. 2-year college is great. Our trades, we got to bring our trades back again. We need plumbers, electricians, we need to bring the trades back strong. I'm a big supporter of trades. I'm a big supporter of the military. I love 15-month programs. So there's a place in the slot for everybody. But I went the 4-year school route. And one of the things the professor said was, you didn't come here to get an education. You came here to have and obtain marketable skills that someone will pay you for to do things they don't want to do. So we need to work on District 3 and many others. Is the problem with the police or with the citizens? That's a great question. Mo, you want to jump in there on this one first?
Okay, let's say we need work in District 3 and many others. Is the problem with the police or the citizens? Oh, man. I don't have a problem with the police. I have a problem with citizens.
Okay.
And you can answer that. And yes, I do have a certain degree problem with the police because I admit that. But then again, I have gotten letting go many times when I had my license plate expired. They got me more in Waukesha over there and gave me the ticket over here, like, get that taken care of, because they got different crimes. So I never had an issue with actually police out here in Milwaukee.
Sure. So I think no one likes a dirty cop, right?
Yeah.
I think there's very few, 97% of the cops are good cops, I believe. I think you have but I think you have that in every profession you have. You have 97% of teachers are pretty good teachers, but that 3% is bad for the bunch, right? So police are no different than any other profession that you'll find people who shouldn't be there. But I am a bigger, let's say, I'm more concerned of the individual citizens because I want to see, changes that happen within. It's just easy to try to, point out the plight, the speck in somebody else's eye when you got a piece of wood in your face, So I'm more concerned about what you're doing as a citizen to prepare your children, to prepare yourself to go out here to be the most productive you can, to have the best opportunity in the greatest country in the world. What are you doing to position yourself for that? Police, I'm not so much fixated on them. They come after the problem. For the bad ones, let's get them out. And nobody likes it. I get that. But I'm more concerned on why your kid ain't going to school. Why you ain't trying to get them to get no job. Mm-hmm. What's going on with the morale factor in your household? I'm more concerned about that.
Right. That should be a concern. That should be everybody's concern.
Again, we're looking at what's happening in California, what's happening in Chicago. This whole big looting spree of this black and brown kids is breaking in places and it's looting these stores. It's not a police issue, man. That's an issue within the community that we got to deal with. A cop could give me a DUI last week, but he didn't. Yeah, again, man, you're going to find, again, I'm more concerned of this, like self-evaluation, Brother Mo, is probably the toughest thing to do is look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned with the mirror conversation than, with the police. The ones who get caught up doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. Sure, nobody wants to say they should go. But what about the 95% who doing the job every day, who doing the right thing? We never hear about them. That's another reason why I can't get down with BLM, bro. They never talk. They don't really get on when it's black on black. But they out when the police do something wrong. So the lady says, how can Black Republicans get the community more involved in juries and justice systems to be heard? I think what needs to happen, I think one thing we can do is maybe change how you select a jury. But most importantly, I think we need to, the community needs to be more educated on, I think, quite honestly, the things we just talked about, like education opportunities, employment opportunities. I don't want to see more people in the court system if we can avoid it. But trying to get more Black Republicans to get the community more engaged in the juries. People don't, a lot of people just don't want to be part of the judicial system because they don't believe it's fair. And they think it's, other people, right? And the fact of the matter is we make up the judiciary system, the 12 jurors, right? And we have to feel obligated. One of the problems you have with a lot of people who are, let's say people who are of color and who are struggling with economic barriers. Part of the issue when you push CRT is people don't have love for country. And when you don't have love for country, you don't feel like you have a stake in the community, so you don't really care. That's a problem. That's why a lot of people don't care to serve on a jury, because they believe like, I don't really care about this country. I don't care about this neighborhood. When you have that type of thinking, then people don't want to participate in the things that make a thriving community or having the bedrock of community, which is having, a system of judiciary, of laws and precepts, because they don't believe they really care about it. Because they don't say the country never cared about me. So why should I care about this country? I don't care about going to the court system. I don't care. And that's the wrong attitude to have.
Yeah, it's the wrong attitude to have, man. It's like, wow.
How do you why don't you serve in a jury? Why aren't we talking about civics in schools anymore? But again, we have so many challenges, man. And I really think some of these issues, well, for me, they all kind of rotate around the idea of economic freedom. We have to get people working. And I say this all the time. I love entrepreneurs, but the solution to the Black community is not having more entrepreneurs. Because again, if you don't have a working class of people who have disposable income, who's going to go shop at those entrepreneur stores?
And I kind of
understand.
I kind of can understand sometimes. So first I was triggered by it for a second. It's a Black store up the street from the house, and everything is taxed. All these ketchup for like $5, and I still try to support it. I mean, they got to have their business. First I'm like, why you got to charge Black people like that? But you know what? They got to get their business going. Sometimes maybe we can support it. And I believe in supporting Black business. I'm strong for that. Even if it's Black business, it's locally owned business. Yep. If they was white, I would still support them if they local in my neighborhood. It had nothing to do with color.
Sure. So one of the things I want to do as a next state treasurer is that I have a strong push. As you can see, I've got a proud hat on right here. I would support the Farmers Bureau of Wisconsin. That's their hat. So I love our agricultural community here in Wisconsin, and I believe in entrepreneurs. I think we need to buy local. We need to support local entrepreneurs, local businesses. To your point, Brother Mo, if it's a neighborhood community store that we should support, we should try to support them, because that company or that store employs people around the neighborhood. It provides a great service to the neighborhood. I want to support local. I want to buy local. It makes no sense to me at all that we have farmers in our state who are struggling to find new revenue streams, like this whole supply chain. Like, how in the world can we have bear cupboards in Wisconsin? We're in the middle of deer hunt season right now. What the supply chain showed us, that we are too dependent on other countries, other states. We are Wisconsin. We should be able to, anything we can grow and sell, we should be showcasing that product in all of our stores.
Yeah, we should.
We should be buying our local beef should be in our stores, our local chickens, local pork, local fish, local everything. When we have so much here in Wisconsin, we should never have a supply chain. We have a whole timber industry. We should never have to worry about toilet tissue or paper towels. So again, as the next state treasurer, if you guys deem me fit to be, I want to push local. Like, we should be buying local. Before I can try to sell beef to another state, we need to be buying beef here in our own state. Like, all of our institutions, from our schools, our prisons, our hospitals, they should be stocked with nothing but local dairy, local meat, and our local vegetables right here in our state. I'm a homer. I'm a homer. We should be buying local, bro. We should be buying local. She said, another question for you, Mo. I think that was at you.
Facts. Also, the Black community has no gardens over here, but the Asians do. Why can't we have free lot at Maurice Duck? I'm right next door. We right next door. I'm gonna say a racial slur, but them moms that live across the street, they got a garden. The city gave them the garden.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And they're cool. I ain't mad at them. You know what I'm saying? It's not the Hmong's over here, but why they won't give it to us?
Sure. Again, I think that's also another failure of leadership locally. The aldermen's okayed that land. You could have more community gardens. Again, this is your leadership here locally. If the community wants to have more local community gardens, you can. We should. You should be growing food. You know, again, that's the healthiest food you can buy is grow your own food. So again, that's your leadership here. I know that you had the community garden over there off of off of 4th with the guy. We got this. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about, Brother Mo. He got the community youth garden over there. What was it called? What called? We got this. I forget the brother's name, older gentleman, but now he's rolled that into the place on Silver Spring. It used to be called Growing Power.
Oh, Growing Power! I know people Growing Power.
So Growing Power is now bought out by somebody else. It's a mixed collection of people who bought it. They're trying to find more community partners, but they're using that land over there now for more community gardens. I forget the guy's name who had the community garden over here right off by the freeway. It'll come to me later, but yeah, I'm supportive. You're right, Kelly. Why can't we have more community gardens? I'm with that. Again, I want community gardens, but if we don't have disposable income, to buy the food, that's an opportunity. I mean, we can buy local, vegetables. We can buy local. So yeah, again, that's local leadership. Why are you voting for these same aldermen who don't have visions like that? With the same county supervisors who don't have vision like that? And so I think it's a great question.
Man.
I hope I'm doing okay, Brother Mo. I'm trying to answer.
No, you're doing good, bro. I'm listening, man. Hey, you should be over here, man. I'm a listener. That's why I put you over here, right? Like, you know what? You on this side over here.
Okay.
I'm interviewing you, and you got the dance flow.
Well, man, I'm here to answer questions. I don't pretend to have it all figured out. I've studied a lot of issues. I work for Senator Johnson now for about 6 years, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Joseph Project. My best friend, Pastor Jerome Smith, he passed a few months ago, and one of the things I've learned a lot from Senator Johnson is just do the research, go dig. One of the biggest things I worked on for Senator Johnson, besides the Joseph Project, well, I had to do a lot of deep diving into the community block grant. Like, where is that money going? If you follow the money, man, they'll tell you a whole lot, Brother Mo. Who getting the money? Where is it going? Why people always crying? They ain't no money out here. The programs are starving. I say, look at all this money that came to Wisconsin. What's going to happen with all this COVID relief money and bounce back money, Badger bounce back, and all the money that's come from the feds? With all this money get here, which is where it is right now, who's accounting for that money? Where is the money going? Who's getting the money? Mm-hmm. Because again, these same entities, next year will cry they broke, Mo. And when I win this treasury, and I pray I win, I'm gonna ask for receipts of what you spent the money you got last year. Where did money go? Who got it? I want to know. because you got the money. So again, before we ask for more money from the taxpayers, we need to make certain that we're doing right by that money. Kelly, keep your questions coming, Sister Kelly. Kelly said, I think I'm going to inquire about the alderman position in this district because there's too much that needs to be done. I could give you a list.
Let's bring the list. Now you sound like Puppy Raw from Philly. Bring the list.
I'm with you, Sister Kelly. I'm with you. Bring the list. So let's be solutionary and let's try to find these answers and follow the money. I would say follow the money. Follow the money. More than likely, they got that land because the land may have been probably abandoned. I don't know about your neighborhood, Mo, before that people got it over there by you. I don't know if it was a vacant lot initially. And so, again, there should be some solutions that we can do. So if we really want a community garden, we should be able to do that. The list, baby.
The list, baby.
Y'all, you got some followers, man.
We want the receipts. The list is the receipts.
But no, I hope that I've tried to be. I want to come on your show again, man. Anytime you want me on, man, just reach out to me. I know I didn't know I was going to be talking this long. Y'all can tell I'm a preacher and a politician. I talk a whole lot, so forgive me.
Hey, he's a preacher, y'all.
So, but I want to be solutionary, man. I want to be, I pride myself on trying to figure things out and not just taking, your answer to be gospel. Like, I want to continue to ask more questions. I want to see more of the books. As a state treasurer, I believe the state treasurer should have subpoena authority of all the books in the state. I should be able to open up all the books in every department and see what's going on with the money. That's what I believe. And I believe that's what the taxpayers want to see. Transparency, accountability with the money. Who's getting the money? Where is it going? And why you keep asking for more money?
All right. Anything you want to put in? I got like 6 minutes left on this video.
Okay.
Anything, let it out, man.
I need people to do the 4 Ds. Well, first of all, please go visit my website. It's Orlando4wi.com. That's my
John,
website.
put it in the link again. Put it in the chat room.
How do I do that?
Post it. No, I'm talking to John. He's gonna post it. He's gonna put it in the chat room.
There. I'm so transparent, brother Mo. Check this out.
He got it.
Y'all can give me a call directly. 414-803-6003.
I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it right here.
414-803-6003. When you go to my website, you'll see my phone number there. You'll see my email address, which is orlandowis@yahoo.com.
Okay, what's the number? I'll post it right here.
414-803.
Hold on. My bad.
Yep, you fine. 414-803-6003. So give me a call. You guys want to talk more about my campaign? If you can help out, we need help. I need all the volunteers we need. I can handle. So you can go to my website. You can email me, orlandowis@yahoo.com. You can call me directly, 414-803-6003. Man, most importantly, man, pray for me, man. Pray for me along this campaign trail. Pray for me and my family. Pray for our great state of Wisconsin. Pray for Milwaukee, man. Pray for our country. But also, it's time for us to do the work as well, too. Republicans and conservatives, it's time for us to do the work. And hopefully we come together. Don't let these candidates or people say, well, who's a patriot candidate and who's a established candidate? And no, what we doing, we coming together as a conservative movement. All the Republican Party it is a vehicle. Inside of that vehicle, it is conservatives. And to make that vehicle go to have petrol, we need donations. So I need people to join the local party. If you want to, vote for me to get out of the Republican primary, because again, I'm running to get the Republican Party endorsement. So you need to become a delegate in your local county party. If you're in Milwaukee County, you can find me. I can get you signed up. From there, I need people to donate. The treasurer needs some money to help the campaign run. So your donations are important to me. You can donate online. You can email me. I'll give you the mailing address or where you can mail your donations to. The name of the campaigns is Friends of Orlando Owens. That's where you make your checks out to. The third thing I need you to dial. I need you to dial and call people about my campaign. And then the final D is do door knocking. When it's time to start doing door knocking, I need people to go do doors. So I'm going to need all those 4 Ds to be successful. And I think it'll be a great year for Republicans. I think the left, Tony Evers, Mandela Barnes, the whole lot of them, Josh Call, they have failed Wisconsin miserably. And I think the people of Wisconsin are ready for a change.
Yeah, we are all ready for a change, you know. If we don't get a change, man, things are never going to change.
Oh, man. They don't get changed for the worse.
Wow.
Change for the worse. We seeing our liberties being eroded. Our schools are under attack. Our civil liberties are definitely under attack. Our religious freedoms are too. Our economic freedoms are on attack. They talk about more, you know, well, I'll leave that subject alone, but we can't work now. So it's just, you know, it's just steady going. So, man, you're right. We are under attack right now. So now is the time we have to get right. We have to get right, you all. So, Brother Mo, man, I appreciate you. Hope it went well tonight, man. Invite me anytime again to your platform. I love to come speak to your viewers and hope we get more engagement, man. So do whatever you can. I appreciate you, man. Give me a call once you finish your show tonight. I'll hang up now and listen to the rest of the show.
No. I'm ending it. I'm ending
okay.
You, not me. So
okay.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end it, and then I'm gonna talk to you on the back end.
Okay.
All right. So any final thoughts, bro?
Hey, man, keep loving America. Keep fighting for freedom, because freedom looks good on you. I love my liberties in the morning. I love the smell of all my freedoms at night. Keep fighting for America, because freedom looks good on you.
You dig? All right. Thanks for coming on, brother. I'm gonna have you back over here.